I made a mistake very recently, and I find myself in a state of conviction. But what I'm beginning to realize is unhealed people can never really understand you. They can never, like, it's not even possible. And I think that this is literally the wisdom behind the reason why the Bible tells us do not be unequally yoked, guys. Do not be unequally yoked. That stuff is draining. To be in a relationship with an unhealed person is draining. One of the harsh realities you'd have to grapple with is that you really only have one option. And the option is just get with the people on your spectrum, or ever so often, unhealed people are program takers and drainers. They are more takers than they are givers. I made a mistake very recently, and I find myself in a state of conviction. I wouldn't say regret and shame, because shame is a spirit that I have dealt with. I don't entirely feel ashamed or regretful. I just feel, I think I feel guilty. I feel guilty because my intuition was warning me the entire time, but I still went ahead and I fell for a trap that I literally could see, that this was a trap that wasn't going to nurture my soul in any way. If anything, it was going to do the opposite. You're probably wondering, what am I talking about? And I'll say that this is the reason why, if you're in your phase or your season of, healing and trying to heal from your childhood traumas, your soul wounds, and you're trying to basically improve yourself, relearn yourself, discover yourself, understand yourself, that sort of journey, to self-improvement and to self-growth and all of that, which we all know it starts from the inside outside. If you're someone who is in that season where you're taking that seriously, this is me sharing, a story about how difficult how it is, or the reality of navigating relationships with unhealed people. And the reason why, if you're going through your healing journey, you need to protect your energy. You need to protect your energy. And I hate to sound like, a lot of the folks online who often say stuff like, cut people off, protect your energy, and all of that. I am not all for cutting people off just like that, because I'm a child of God. It is not my place to live in fear. I am not supposed to live in fear, right? So yes, there's a place to be wise, to avoid certain relationships, and there is a place where, some of those relationships we're trying to avoid is just us running away from what is difficult and challenging. But this is not even one of those cases. This is one of the cases where I am now beginning to realize, it's just dawned on me that you really cannot, as a healed or, someone going through their healing journey, you really cannot risk having any form of relationship, any form of close relationship with unhealed people. You really cannot. Unhealed people are more takers than they are givers. And one thing I've realized is, even when they seem to give, however generously, however lavishly, it is rarely a thing of innate value to the receiver. It is rarely a thing of innate value to the receiver. And you need to listen very carefully to this, especially those of us who are, you have your gaze more focused on people who actually give to you, because sometimes, people giving you material stuff, people giving you all the things that you have on your list that you want to receive from maybe your man or your dream woman, that sort of thing, it can look like, oh, this person can be your person. This person loves you because they're giving you all these things, right? It can seem like that, but one thing I've realized with unhealed people, like, if it's an unhealed person that is giving you all of those things, it still doesn't contribute to value. It still doesn't hold weight on your soul. And that is because these people, When you think about it on a deeper level, these are people that have not met their own souls. And because they have not met their own souls, they are incapable of seeing your own soul. They are incapable of understanding your soul, not to talk of understanding the quiet needs that you have as a human being. When you think of how that love, the very definition of love is service, right? A healthy love, the agape love that the Bible talks about, is first and foremost service to the partner. Like if you and I were dating, right? Um, for me to say that I love you is that I look at you and I'm thinking, first and foremost, how can my presence in your life, how can it serve you? How can I serve you? How can I make you better? How can I, improve your life? How can I basically serve in your soul's journey towards your destiny and your purpose on this earth? How can I serve you? That should be the thing, right? When you look at that, you realize that in order to be able to really serve someone, to be able to really and truly serve someone in a way that it would be valuable to them, actually starts with you knowing their soul. It starts with you seeing their soul, or recognizing their soul, and understanding their soul language and the story of their soul, because it is in that story that you find their most human needs. And it is when you serve those needs, that is when your love for them actually begins to strike a chord in their heart, that they begin to feel like, have that, undeniable feeling that this person truly loves me. It's because this person truly sees them. And when you put that into context and you look at the situation or the scenario with the unhealed people, and this is not just relationship, this also applies to friendship, any form of partnership, just basically any form of relationship, any form of close relationship that you're having with another human being, be it male or female. These applies, right? So when you put that healthy love in the context of an unhealed person, they are incapable of giving you that kind of love. They are incapable of it because of the very reason of how that they cannot see your soul. So if they cannot see your soul, they will never be able to understand the language of your needs. They will never be able to understand the language of your needs, no matter how much you tell it to them. They will never be able to understand it. They will never be able to honor it. So the highest they can do is to love you in the way that they know how to love. And I don't know about every other person, but to love a person is not to love them in the way that you know how to love a person. It is to actually love them in their own love language. And that love language is their soul language. That is the language of the deepest needs of their soul. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect in loving them and meeting those soul needs. It means that, you're actually able to recognize that, and you spend a lifetime pursuing how to meet the person's soul needs. So, generally we all know it's impossible for any human being to meet all your needs 100%. But the beauty of being loved correctly, of being loved in the agape way that the Bible talks about, in being loved in the divine way, is, to see a person who truly understands you and they actually try, to see them grow in the art and the service and the process and the action, the act of, learning to love you correctly. That is the whole beauty of feeling loved. And I'm in a phase where I'm currently realizing that I am now realizing that it's literally impossible for an unhealed person to love a healed person correctly. Yes. Yes. So because these unhealed people have not met their souls, they are incapable of meeting or seeing other people's souls as well. When you think about that, then you're left with the only reasonable question. How then? How then can they give value? How then can they give love when they don't even know what your soul craves or needs to begin with? And This is why sometimes you can be with a partner that feels good. This person is good in the sense that they're not particularly, doing anything to actively hurt you, but still being around such a person, it still drains you. And this is the reason why. It is because of that disconnect. You guys are on a different wavelength, right? You guys are on a different wavelength. There is a place for communication, but what I'm beginning to realize is unhealed people can never really understand you. They can never, like, it's not even possible. It's not even possible. And I think that this is literally the wisdom behind the reason why the Bible tells us do not be unequally yoked, guys. Do not be unequally yoked. That stuff is draining. To be in a relationship with an unhealed person is draining. It is draining. They can seem like a good partner because, they're not necessarily wicked. They're not necessarily doing anything or actively doing anything to hurt you. But still, somehow you feel drained. You feel, you just feel a disconnect. You just feel a disconnect. Unhealed people are takers and drainers of energy. They are literally programmed to take and to drain from you. Yeah. Remember when I was talking about this subject around female friendships, and I was talking about how that divine feminine women are the only ideal kind of friends, like the only ideal kind of women you can be friends with, if at all you want to, be friends or have a relationship with a woman, right? The divine feminine women are the ultimate because they are in the divine wavelength. They are healed. They are walking with God. They are enlightened women. They are awakened women, right? One of the qualities that I mentioned in this video about what sets divine feminine women apart from the unhealed, the toxic, and the simply feminine women is simply that the first thing they're thinking, their first desire for you is to serve you. And that is a big deal, guys. If you've ever been in a relationship, you would understand how big of a deal that is. Because what I find recently is having talking stage with people, with some guys, right? Ideally, a guy comes to you, he seeks you out first. So he's the one who has interest in you first, and naturally that should tell you that okay, this person, this person knows you to a degree. They've studied you to a degree enough to know that okay, they like you, and you are the lady who fits, the destination or the journey they're going, and the legacy that they are building, right? Ideally, that's how it should be. But then you see those guys literally in the talking stage. They have not done anything to prove to you why you should trust them and want to say yes to you. But then they're already asking you for things. And I'm not talking about small things. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about money. These are material things. Material things are literally small in the spectrum of spiritual value. I'm not talking about money or material things. I'm talking about they're asking you to compromise on boundaries when they have not even put in the work. They have not really done anything big to prove that their desire for you is truly genuine and intentional. They are already seeking for you to compromise on certain values, on certain boundaries, right? This is talking stage, by the way. This is talking stage. And sometimes, a lot of times, it also occurs in like the first, the early stage of a relationship with this sort of people. They're already asking all these big things. That's how you know. It's one of the tell signs that instantly tells you that this person is unhealed. This person is still deeply in the unhealed spectrum. And this is someone you should not be getting with, right? This is someone you should not be getting with because before long, you'll find yourself, you see, everything that you promised yourself while you were healing, while you were doing the work over the years, everything you promised yourself you weren't going to do, everything you told yourself you're never going to do again, you're going to stop doing, you're going to discipline yourself. When you get with people like this, who are on this unhealed spectrum, before you know it, you find yourself doing all those things. You won't even know, like it starts so gradually, but you definitely find yourself doing all those things. And I think that is like the saddest part of it all. And I'm now just realizing that truly, 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 if you are healed or you're healing or you're awakened or you're an empath, you're just not um you're just not most people anymore. One of the harsh realities you'd have to grapple with is that you really only have one option. And the option is just get with the people on your spectrum, or you just have to do life alone. Those are your two options. But the thing is, I'm Christian. I believe in community. God created us for community. God created man for woman and woman for man. I will never preach to people to stay alone. I would never preach to people to, because of humans have hurt you, a million times, you should, just give up on human beings. You should give up on people. No, I will never preach that on my channel because I do not believe in that. I believe that community and relationships are a very, very vital part of our, divine growth and even our health as a human being, as we evolve in this world. So I will never preach cutting people off completely or isolating yourself completely because of all the hurts. But what I preach in my channel is how to do relationship smartly when you become healed, when you become awakened. All the things I talk about around, energy, feminine energy, masculine energy, and all of that, is to give you a blueprint, a practical blueprint that works for you to be able to still create healthy relationships, the right way, while protecting your essence, your healed essence, because that becomes one of your greatest assets. It becomes one of your greatest assets. When you heal, your energy is expensive. But when you're around unhealed people, your creativity, your energy, your life force, everything is drained. It gets siphoned, it gets harvested. And a lot of the times, it's not necessarily that these people are evil. That is why it's difficult for people to spot these patterns quickly. It's not like some people do it on purpose, some not on purpose. But like that's the thing about being in proximity and especially being in some form of a union with unhealed people. Before you know it, their unhealed frequency, it starts to take from you. Like it's just something about being around such people. It just drains you. It's like a vortex. It drains the light because they need your light. So it drains your light, and because they are unhealed, they never compensate. They never like replenish you back. They never replenish you back. And that is what I mean when I said that unhealed people are programmed to be takers and drainers. Because they're unhealed, they're not in their divine masculine or their divine feminine. Their mind is not anchored or set on the desire of service to you. So they are there, looking at you and they're thinking, okay, what can this person do for me? Yeah. Like, what can this person's presence in my life do for me? How can this person make my life better? And just imagine someone like that being your partner, and that is all they think about when they look at you. They're looking at how your presence in their own life can make you better. You've already set yourself up to be drained. You've already set yourself up to be drained. And that is why you literally cannot have it any other way. You only have these two options, like I said. It's either you get around the people who are healed like you, get in a community of those people, date from that community someone who is healed, or you just stay by yourself. As you can see, I'm not really having the usual energy that I normally have in my videos. And that's because, like I was saying earlier, I made a mistake. And, while I was being convicted, while I was, just rethinking and reevaluating my moves and, my decisions, the part I played in this mistake, I find myself questioning what is the most saddest part of this mistake for me. And I think, or like the closest thing to regretful, right? Like what is the saddest part for me? in this story, like this experience. And I think, the saddest part I realize is not having a tribe, right? I do have a community, I do belong in a community, but oftentimes communities are broad. They are quite broad. I mean, I have people in my communities that still, think that I am some metaphysics junkie, or like I'm just, like I've gone insane talking about all these things that they don't understand, right? So community is a broad place. A lot of times I've found that the best type of union you want to be in, especially when you're going through something like this, you want to be amongst people who understand these experience. You want to be amongst people who understand these languages. And that is something I haven't really found in the community that I'm in. My community is a healthy, it's okay, it's a good community, but I just haven't been able to find, tribe members or people that I can say that, they get this journey, they understand these languages that I speak. So here on my channel, I've been talking about these things, and the reason why I've been talking about this subject, the reason why I talk about these things is basically to create awareness, and also to invite you to join the community. So if you're someone who is on your healing journey, you are on your self-development journey, and you're also someone who believes in the mind over matter approach to leveling up, to self-confidence, to just being a better version of yourself on all areas, and especially in your mental health, consider joining this community. I think if anything, I am more intentional about building this community because we need each other. We need each other. I was just thinking to myself, like, imagine I had an established tribe community around this particular subject of interest, the subject of healing and childhood trauma and all of that. It would be easy. We can all support each other. We can support each other because we understand it. It doesn't even matter what country you are, what part of the world you're living. This is a language that is familiar to all of us, literally familiar to all of us. Childhood trauma, soul wounds, these are languages that are familiar to all of us. But the thing is, this is something that everybody goes through. The only issue is only a few persons are awakened to the need, awakened to the reality that they have to heal to be able to command the life that they want, to be able to find that peace, that happiness, that fulfillment that everyone is chasing after. So for those of us who have awakened to the realization that this is a work we need to do on ourselves intentionally, I am saying that you don't have to do it alone, because the journey is hard. It is hard, it is long, it is lonely. And you're going to make mistakes on the way. And because of that, you need a community that understands these things. You need a community that can understand your pain, and not just understand, but a community that thrives in methods, hacks, and tips and tricks to actually grow out of that state of woundedness to a higher state, to a better state. You need a community that talks about tips. They're sharing, ways, methods, like practical ways to grow out of it. And that is the community that I am seeking, that I am currently building with the Crystal community on my channel. So if you're someone who resonates, if you're someone who is looking for that community, that tribe place where you can, share whatever you're going through, and you can get practical tips, you can get support from people who understand it, consider joining this community. Consider subscribing to my channel and joining the Crystal community. Like I said, it doesn't matter what part of the world you are living in. This is a language that we all understand. This is something that we all need. We all need, that soul brother, soul sister support. Something away from the conventional community we all belong to. We all need that support from people we don't have to explain the meaning of trauma to, or soul wounds, or attachment style to, and people we don't have to explain the meaning of those things to. So we all need that community. I know that I do. I have a community, like I said, but not a tribe, a tribal community. So I'm building this tribe. If this resonates with you, click the link in my bio, subscribe to my channel, join the community. I drop a lot of posts on there. So the goal is to grow the community, and probably will migrate to a different platform where we can have like a more private space to ourselves to, communicate and share different stories, away from the public eye, from the social the public social media posts and all of that. So join the channel, or if you're interested, just signify in the DM. I will create a LinkedIn. Is it LinkedIn? No. What is that app called again? It's not LinkedIn. I will create a Telegram channel where we can meet and grow our community from there. So if this is something that resonates with you, if this is something that you know you need, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're at. It doesn't matter if you're a wife, if you're divorced, if you're a divorced husband, if you are going through heartbreaks, if you are on your healing journey, basically. Just comment the word healed in the comment section and I will send you the link to the Telegram channel.